This is your 2020 Alfa Romeo Stelvio. It is the TI trim. I apologize in advance for this, but it is the Nero Edizione, which translates to the black edition. A lot of black accents here. Starting up front, you like this or you don't. It's a very polarizing front end. I kind of like it. I think it gives it a very unique stance. And where else are you going to see a triangle grille? So anyways, LED turn signals, day runners, as well as your headlights and your high beams. So these are your day runners, that nice outline pattern. And it just looks really, really sharp, very crisp, very clean. Again, I like the front end. I'd love to know in the comments if you're a fan or not a fan. Nice blacked out rims here with the red brake calipers that say Alfa Romeo in script as opposed to block lettering. And there's a look at it right down there. Tiny Irk, it's like the smallest of Irks, but I'm gonna get down a little bit. The wheel gap is a little big. I don't know, maybe half it. And I think it would give it a much more aggressive look. Getting a good look at the side profile. Nice, clean, conservative look. I don't have any complaints with it. Obviously, aside from what I just mentioned with the wheel gaps, it's a little higher in the rear, as you can tell. Again, maybe whether it's air suspension or they just drop it a little bit. I don't think you can go any bigger with the wheels, but just my 2 cents on that. I don't mind the rim pattern. A little busy, but not unbearable for me. And you got your gas tank. Oh, a little quirk here on the gas tank, gas door, sorry. There's a little indent here, which is where you push, and that's how you open it up. And yeah, anyway, so that's that. Going around to the rear, turn signals, LED, and you get your rear day runners, and it's that nice diamond-esque shaped pattern. Going around to the full rear, sorry, tailpipes are massive. So, well, that's true or not true. So you can actually see where the actual tailpipe is, and they have the finisher around it. It was weird how I turned my hand like that, like I was gonna turn it. Anyways, just a nice clean look overall. And you get the logo in color here. So let's take a look in the trunk. You'll notice there's lots of beeps in this vehicle, and I'll get to that throughout the review. Snow brush, thank you, Alfa Romeo Canada. You got a speaker here. You can put your seats down with a latch, and you have your privacy cover right there as well, in case you don't want prying eyes to see whatever it is you have in the back of your Stelvio. Cargo figures are on the screen. You can put the seats down. You can see how the split goes. And yes, it's got a beautiful and gorgeous red interior. So let's close it up. Give you one quick look. Let's do something different. Let's take a look around the passenger side. We don't see this side very often in my reviews, and you know, maybe I should change that. Starting with the rear seats of the Stelvio, yes, it's got an unmistakable red interior all the way throughout. I think it looks really sharp, but let's stick to the back seats for now. So you can see it's a 40-20-40 split. Here is your release to pull the 40% down here. Same thing on the other side, and your 20% is just this little tab here, you pull it. So a cool little Easter egg, and I'm gonna call it a perk, is it actually says Alfa Romeo in the place that hardly anybody's gonna see, because if you're sitting here, you're facing forward, and even if you use the cup holders, hardly anyone's gonna see that. So I think that's a nice little move there. This is a little slot for your cell phone and obviously your drinks, and there's your tab to pull it out. As far as space for your rear passengers, again, I'm all the way up, I'm all the way back, and I've got plenty of room here for my feet. And you do get heated rear seats and 2 USB ports, part of an upgraded option with the heated rear seats, and your vents are there. So let's close up the rear door and take a look up front. I like how the double red stitching just adds that nice little accent. You get more of the red interior, lots of functional space down there, cool speaker covers. Everything else is kind of standard for the course. Kind of a quirk, you get 3 memory seats, usually only get 2, but Alfa Romeo going the extra mile. These seats, thigh bolsters, full marks. Look at the size of these side bolsters. It's almost my entire hand. That is unbelievable. I really, really like the double red stitching on the red. Sure, they could have gone with black or white, but I think it just gives it a nice uniform look. Cool perk here. You get the logo embossed into the headrest, and it looks really, really sharp. So let's jump in. A few things to go through here. Start stop button on the steering wheel itself, and typical Alfa style. You get the logo. A bit of an irk. It's a mild irk. I know, stop beeping, please. Come on. Thank you. It's not in color. It's just chrome and black, and I wish it were in color just to add a little bit of excitement to the steering wheel. I know there's the red stitching in there, but just a little irk there. All right, digital in the middle, analog on the bookends. Nice, easy to read, no issues here. Here, it's kind of a quirk and kind of an irk. The end of the turn signal stalk is how you turn on your lane keep assist. I mean, you look at the top of your screen in the middle, it's on, it's off, it's on, it's off. And how you control everything in the screen is right at the end of the wiper stalk. So usually that's where your rear wiper controls go, but to get the rear wiper you push down, and to get the regular front wipers you're going to push up. So how do I do this with one hand? Anyway, so you just push the little button at the end of the stalk, and that runs you through all of your different digital menu options. But aside from that, very easy to read, very easy to pull information out of. And there's a cool look at it right there. Again, I like that it's black and white. Yes, there's a little bit of color in the middle, but at night it's very easy to see and, again, obtain all your information. Cool little design line here with the two humps just on top of these two dials, so very nicely done there. We're going to move around to the infotainment system. It's a little slow and glitchy by modern standards. It's still relatively fast, but there are faster ones out there. You could either go with the touchscreen option to slide and slide and slide and slide and get what you want, or you can just dip down right behind the gear shift and you can control it that way and get your information from there. Depends if you want fingerprints on the screen or not. I don't like fingerprints on the screen, so I did use this pretty much the entire time. That's your home screen, and that's how you quickly jump to your settings. There's no volume knob up top. The volume knob is right here, and if you don't want to use that, it's right on your steering wheel as well. So that takes care of that. Vents just below, again, nothing too fancy there, just it's nice and symmetrical. And it kind of just arcs in like that. Again, more of the red interior. HVAC system, I love it because it's so easy to use. It's just hard touch buttons through and through, and you can't get better than that. You got a USB port there. You got a couple more in the center console, giving you 5 in total. So 1 here, 2 in the console, 2 in the rear seats. You got your cup holders, and again, the little slot for your cell phone goes in here. And that pretty much takes care of that. I don't know if I'd ever keep this closed. Again, I wouldn't put anything but drinks in here. So it's, like I said, always keep it open. I'm going to back up for a touch. The first thing I thought of when I saw the gear shift, when I was getting in the car, it's the shape of a serpent's head, which matches the snake on the Alfa Romeo logo. So I think it was intentional. As a non-car designer, I think it was very intentional. You get the Italian heritage colors just behind right there. You got your parking brake, little spot for change right there. Here are your drive modes. It's D, it's N, it's A. I'll show you what it looks like on the infotainment system. So D is dynamic, you get the red. N is natural and get the neutral colors. And A is all weather. And it looks pretty cool. I'm going to go up to the dashboard and show you what it looks like there. So that's A for all weather, N for natural, and D for dynamic, and that gets you your red screen. This is optioned out with a wireless charger, and I really like that it slides in this way, and I like that it's not here. It's just less tempting to look at. You can see the rear passengers nearly get the entire benefit of the sunshade. You can see just how far back it goes in line with the rear headrest, and there's your tilt. Hold on a sec. Anyway, oh, no, too cold. Sorry. On the road with the 2020 Alfa Romeo Stelvio. Under the hood, it's an inline turbo 4, and that gets you 280 horsepower and 306 pound-feet of torque. All of that is run through an 8-speed automatic transmission, and in case you missed it on the interior portion, these massive paddle shifters, which are aluminum and feel great, are column mounted, and that's if you want to do the whole do-it-yourself option. Now on the road, it is very quick, it is very brisk, and that's in the natural mode. I did have it in dynamic mode for, I want to say, a couple hundred kilometers worth on my test week, and you really feel the difference. And it's not sluggish at all in natural. It's just a nice, well-balanced ride, and natural, normal, depending on how you look at it. It's everyday driving, and that's doing your errands, going to and from work for those of us that have an office to go to. If if you're going to run in dynamic mode, which is the equivalent of sport mode for the more common language, that's when you're on back roads and just taking it out for a drive and really enjoying what the Stelvio does and can do as far as driving excitement goes. Back to the normal everyday driving, because that's what a lot of us will end up doing. Because of the nearly 50-50 weight distribution, it's a very well-balanced ride. You feel very planted. You have a little bit of the excitement there in the natural mode, just enough to remind you that yes, you're driving an Alfa, but it's not as sporty and energetic as it would be if you were in dynamic mode. Handling and cornering, it's done very well, and I've thought this from the first day I picked up the vehicle. It drives like a car, but it's got the size and shape of an SUV. And sorry, that guy moved up a little bit to let me in, so the polite Canadian thing to do is to say thank you. Back to what I was saying though, it definitely has a car-like driving experience, but the functionality and size of a mid-size crossover holds the turns and corners very, very well, and again, very planted. All-wheel drive here comes in handy for Canadian winters. Jump into a fuel consumption on a 64-liter tank of 91 octane, because that's what Alfa Romeo recommends on their website. In liters per 100 kilometers, you're at 10.8 on city streets, 8.3 on the highway, and you put those together and your blended total comes out to 9.6. Not too bad, kind of par for the course as far as other competitors go within the industry, and a lot of variables come into play. If you stomp down after every red light and every stop sign, you're going to use a little more fuel. If you have a lot of stuff and things and people in here, the power to weight ratio will definitely affect your fuel consumption. Out of the box with the Stelvio TI, for standard safety, you're going to get forward collision warning as well as an advanced brake assist feature. If you want additional features like this vehicle is spec'd with, you'll have to tick off a couple of boxes on the option sheet, and that will get you lane keep assist and traffic jam assist and adaptive cruise control and blind spot monitoring. I personally would tick those boxes off myself, because not only does it keep myself as a driver safer, but it's for other drivers and for pedestrians and cyclists. Seats are very comfortable in the Stelvio TI. Yes, there's an upgraded option which has been ticked off here to have the bolsters be adjustable, but I think even without that, the seats are quite comfortable, and there's a very low, if any, driver fatigue. And I've only had the car for a week, and I've done a little bit of a longer drive with it, and no adjusting and twisting and turning to find my comfortable spot. Great sight lines out both the front and the rear. Big side windows make it easy to see anyone that's kind of creeping up on you. Yes, there's a blind spot monitoring for that extra bit of safety, but it's not standard, so having great sight lines throughout the vehicle definitely helps. The cabin itself doesn't feel closed in or thin. It feels a lot bigger than it is, so you kind of have that light and airy feeling as opposed to that kind of closed in, narrow feeling here. Overall, the 2020 Alfa Romeo Stelvio TI, even though it's a base model, and I use the term base very loosely, it still is a luxury vehicle that comes fairly well equipped. It's a great looking vehicle. It drives very smoothly, very well. The power delivery is very smooth. Steering feel doesn't have much dullness or numbness to it. Fairly lively. Again, if you want to really make the most of your time with your Stelvio, drop it to dynamic mode as opposed to natural mode, and then you'll get all of the exclamation marks that you want and really feel just how well engineered this vehicle is. If you've got any questions on the Stelvio TI, let me know in the comments, and I'll do my best to get you answers as soon as possible. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate the support. I always said it's been so long since I've said support. Now there's a Mazda 3 in the background. Let's get that out of the frame. There we go. Now there is... let's keep going up a bit and get everything out of the frame. I do appreciate the support. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. There you go. That's better. Feel free to tell a friend about the channel if you think they'd be interested in what I do. Be well, be healthy, be safe, and I will see you in the next review.